gonna be number one.
Sorry, I am gonna record this meeting if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah. That sounds cool. So yeah, definitely an idea, and then a script. And yeah, so the next thing I think you would need would be like figuring out how to pitch it to people. And you would need to pitch it. You're pitching all the time, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be like sitting down in an office and like trying to get people to like pick up your Netflix show that you want, to whatever. It's like pitching all the time. It's like whenever you all are going to be doing your pitches, is that next week or in the next few weeks that you're thinking about?
October 12th, 2 weeks.
October 12th. Ooh, you got some time to get your pitches together. What you would want to do is know who you're pitching to, right? So this is going to be a little bit different. If you want to pitch your mom onto like how she, or like if she wants to watch a film, that's how you sell it to her, right? You know what she is going to want versus what a film student is going to want to make, right? So you're going to want to pitch to the audience that you know. And so the audience that you're going to be pitching to in the next 2 weeks is going to be you all in this room right now. So yeah, and a pitch can be anything from starting with as small as like a log line to expanding it into a whole pitch deck. And so, yeah, let me go ahead. I'm going to put in the chat, if that's chill, some things that need to be in a log line. Does anyone know what a log line is? Yeah.
It is usually 1 or 2, maximum 2 words. Synopsis of the, not synopsis, the summary of the movie without giving too much spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a synopsis. But also you kind of want to tell them what they're going to be in for, right? So I have in here in the chat, I'm saying that you need a setting, protagonist, problem, antagonist, conflict, and action, and the goal. They don't always have to be in everything. Not every single movie is going to answer all of that, but those are some things that you want to be looking at. Like for instance, let me also put an example. What are some movies that you all have seen recently that you feel like you could give a log line for? Anything?
Dune?
Dune? Have you seen that already?
But it's very expensive. But I can try.
Yeah, is that out already?
That is out in my country.
Wow.
That is out where I live, yes.
Well, shoot, like give it to us if you have it.
Okay. An inheritance to the throne of Atreides gets visions being told that he is a special one. I don't know. Okay. Can I break for you the most essential plot points, and then can we boil down the most essential? Because that's a big one.
Yeah, let me put this. So in the chat, I have this real quick. Maybe we can put it into this. So It's going to be when inciting incident happens, whatever that's going to be for Dune. I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know. Happens, the protagonist, whoever that is, decides to take action against the antagonist, which raises the stakes in this way. So anything in the quotes is what you would fill in the blank. Yeah, no spoilers.
Okay, so inciting incident is when, okay, so he has visions before, but the inciting incident is when House, I'm now forgetting their name, but Stellan Skarsgård decides to have his army invade Arrakis.
So when an army invades Arrakis.
When an army invades Arrakis.
I don't know how, like, how would you even spell that?
Has the source of of all life and transport, Paul of Atreides decides to step up and lead his father's place. Dees. I don't even know how to spell it.
That's okay.
To step up and become the chosen one. It's somewhere referred to, it's a Fremen word, but I keep blanking out on the name.
No worries.
It's referred to multiple times in the movie.
No worries. That's great. So that's a good little pitch for that film. As far as I can tell, I haven't seen it.
But I've also noticed it's a bunch of jargon, which people, not people, but studio execs and a lot of people go, what the hell?
Right.
Which, and I mean, a lot of people are like who haven't delved into any sci-fi universe that has a lot of jargon are confused.
Yeah, and that's totally acceptable. But that's the thing is, right? So you're going to hear this and you're going to say, wait, what? I want more, right? The log line is going to be is what they call like the elevator pitch, So it's like, if you're writing an elevator with like the one person of your dream, that's going to make your big film, like that's ever going to happen to any of us. But like, if that happens, you want to be able to like throw a pitch, like Steven Spielberg's right next to you and he's going to throw all his money at you. So what are you going to tell him to make him throw? And so it's supposed to be like, it's within that elevator ride, like that, 5-story elevator ride that you have with him. How are you going to make him say, okay, tell me more, and like get out the elevator with you and like want to continue hearing, right? So that's going to be your first thing that is you got to work on is that. And it's all about like the marketing. It's all about what you want to sell, and not necessarily like selling your story to get money, but like with your fellow filmmakers, selling the story that you think would be super cool for all these people to make. And why would that, what's that going to be? So yeah, that's going to be the log line. There's also a pitch deck that you could put together, which honestly too, if you're going to have pitches, you're probably going to want a pitch deck. I can show you. Am I able to share my screen?
You should be able to, yeah.
Yeah, I can. We love that. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. Realize I got this off of someone that I was networking with. If it shows up. And it's a pitch deck that Netflix goes by what they want to see in a pitch deck. So the lag. So yeah, I went to a workshop as well that explains this. I can go ahead and email this to you, Kate, if you want to put it on the doc for everyone to see or whatever. I'm not going to go into all of this, but this is like a teaser of what Netflix wants. I mean, this is someone who's going to like want to throw all the money at everything. So like, they're going to want like all the shiz to be together, I think for your pitches, for the sake of your pitches, you probably don't need all of this. But gosh, my computer is being really slow. Hold on. It's like not letting me scroll. Let me stop my share. You would think after all this time, we would be able to get together with Zoom and figure our stuff out. But it just doesn't happen. Stand by. Okay, I can go ahead and share this to you, and then I will just hover on this one page. But for right now, this is how to create a pitch document, and it's 5 to 10 pages, something like this. You're going to want to go over the story questions, and like what the story is going to be about, what questions. This is for like a TV show. So, they want something that's going to give you like that you're going to give them like multiple questions, multiple seasons out of. The overview, the world, the tone, character descriptions, season summaries. Again, this isn't necessarily for what y'all are going to be doing, but for eventually, and then potential episodes. Again, same thing. Unless you all do a web series, maybe that would be really cool. But yeah, so you're going to want to go over like the overview of what it is like that you all are going to, let me see. There we go. That you all are going to want to be making. And something else that you guys are going to want to do once you all get that stuff together is the next thing is going to be budget. You're going to want to think about, and this is something also when you're pitching, you're going to want to think about like, what is it that you already have that you have, and what is it that you're going to need, because you're pitching it to your fellow filmmakers. So let's say you're like, I already know I have my actors in mind. I know that they're like good to go. I have the place. I know what they're going to do, like blah, 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 or where we're going to be. And it can be for free or whatever, but I need a DP. I need a production designer. I need PAs, blah, 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 like something like that. Right. So what do you need? Yeah. And then also I will say, if nothing else, even if everything's free, I would always keep in mind to budget for food. I think food is really, really important. You always want to go ahead and make sure that everyone gets a lunch. So yeah, that's the budget side of things. In terms of your crew, what do you all, who are some members of crew that you all know we're gonna need? Yeah, Sabine.
Number one, it's really important to have a cinematographer, but also number two, I would like to ask the question, do rewrites factor into the budget in this case? Like rewriting the script?
I mean, maybe if you're on like a big old TV show and you're having to pay your writer, but if you're doing your little project, I don't think so. Unless you are paying your writer. If you're not paying your writer, like I know all of us like youngins are usually like trying to, we're just writing our own stuff at home and then hopefully getting paid for our work afterwards.
But yeah, sorry, but do you think like that rewriting the script in a way like on the set, and then giving it to the actors has in a way has the actors shoot extra scenes in a way, paying for more shots and paying for more money?
Well, so that's something that happens you want to get all that out in pre-production. Obviously, come post, if something's not flowing and like you have all your footage that you think you were going to need, and then come post, you're like, this scene's not working, like whatever, then yeah, but you would have already budgeted for whatever you're going to have on set. So we have a cinematographer. We're going to need that. I also would recommend an AC, like an assistant camera, who can help like relieve the cinematographer, like holding the camera all the time. If you guys have like a separate like pulling of the focus, then they can do that, or it can just act as like a second AC, which is just doing your clapper. What about so we have cinematographer. Like, how do I spell cinematography? I think that's I'm like, thank you so much. Okay, cinematographer. We have our assistant camera. Anything else? Let's talk about really, really basic stuff. The director, right? You're gonna want a director. We're gonna want a producer. Yes, exactly. What about, so do we all like know the difference between like director and producer? Yeah, yes. Cool. So director is going to be like really the creative vision. Producer is going to be the just getting the shiz done to be able to get into production. Usually by the time they're on set, their like job is for the most part done, unless it's like damage control type stuff. If, you know, you're out of location and they have issues. London knows about this. Yeah, she helped me. She was my PA for a project I filmed in April. And we had an issue on set where we were just filming at my apartment, and my community person like came over and was like, hey, we can't have blah, blah, blah happen. And so my producer took care of it. Your producer is going to be the person taking care of the logistics on set. So director can just be in charge of the creative. I also will say an assistant director is going to be really important. Do we know what the assistant director does? Does anyone have questions, or who knows? Raise their hand if you know. No. Oh yeah. Amber, you want to go ahead and say it?
Sure, yeah. They're telling everyone what to do and making sure everyone's doing what they should be.
Yeah, exactly. They're definitely in charge of keeping time, making sure everyone stays on task, creating the schedule. They also create the call sheets typically, and the shooting schedule. You're going to do like, it's a lot of the pre-production stuff, like right before you get on set. So you're going to do the script breakdown. You're going to scan the script for like props, set design, costume changes that may need to happen between, you know, this scene to this next scene. So yeah, that's an AD. Yeah, what's that?
Also, aren't they only, isn't the director only supposed to work with the cinematographer and the actors, while the assistant director is supposed to work with everyone else?
Yeah, I mean, I think at a smaller level, everyone kind of works with everyone, but yes, technically, like the AD is the person making sure everyone's in their spots, and the AD also is going to be the person that sets background actors. And that is typically because like that rule has to do with union stuff. So background actors are paid at a lower rate than like your normal actors are done. And so if the director talks to the regular, like the background actors, then they can go ahead and say like, hey, I need to get paid XYZ because I was talked to by the director versus the AD. So yeah, a script supervisor, definitely invaluable. Thank you so much for putting that in. And do we know what a script supervisor does? Yeah, London, do you want to?
It's like the continuity person.
Yep, exactly. Continuity. You also go ahead and make notes on like what lenses are being used and what scene and what shot and all of that.
And that you actually covered everything that you were supposed to.
Yes, exactly. That way, whenever you get into post, you're not saying, oh my gosh, we missed a whole scene. Like, what are we to do? It's just another person to make sure that everything got done that needed to get done. Yeah, and then a sound mixer and boom operator, sometimes, especially like in smaller projects, they're probably the same person. And yeah, those are huge as well. And depending on the project, I mean, if you do it silent, you may not actually need anyone if you're going to do all the like on set, if you're going to do all the sound in post. But I always recommend capturing as much sound as you possibly can on set. Let's see. I think there's also someone that's like really invaluable that we haven't mentioned. Anyone know?
A PA.
That's it. I had it ready. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and the actors, craft services, exactly. But the production assistant, oh my gosh, which is how I make my living right now. And I hate it. Just kidding. No, but production assistants are the freaking, like, they're the grunt. They do the grunt work. They're like the best ever. Like, they're super invaluable. They're going to be the people that just like help keep the set running. Has anyone production done PA work before? Yeah. London, you should be raising your hand. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, exactly. Cool. That's good. So how is your production and assistant experiences for everyone?
Well, one was sort of a production assistant on my uncle's film, and I didn't get to do much except also be an extra, so it was an informal PA role. But the other one was more formal, where I got to work on a short film, and the leader of the film club, my college's film club at the time, was also the assistant director on the project. So that was really nice. A lot of hurrying up and waiting though.
Yeah.
But very satisfying to be on a set nevertheless.
Nice.
And this was my first job because because I got paid $100.
Nice. It's always nice to get paid for your work. We get it so much where we're not getting paid. Cool. Yeah. I'm gonna answer just this question from Malia. I hope I'm saying the name right. I know that you're out and about right now. But just like some tips for good PA and PA do nots. I mean, I guess tips for being a good PA is just going out and doing your thing and having a positive attitude. Again, it really just depends on the type of set, which I think you'll find in the industry, it'll be different. So like for smaller projects, you'll probably like be able to have more hands-on. Like who knows, if you're a PA, you'll probably end up like on smaller shoots, like where it's like your shorts and your friends are like helping. You may end up being able to like slate, because they need someone to come and slate and like be a little bit more hands-on. If it's a union type of set, you are not allowed to like, there's a lot of things you can't do because certain things are protected. Like you can't pick up a camera, you can't do anything because the cinematographers are going to do it. And as a PA in the union sense, you're going to have a walkie. You're really more like a mini assistant director, like helping them get everything together, grabbing background, things like that. I did a reality show recently and we did a lot of like the crafty stuff, whereas like the union side of things, they have people for crafty and they make bank, by the way. So if you can get into crafty on union, get in there. It's really easy. You're just handing out food, long hours nonetheless, but still. So yeah, it's kind of different everywhere you go. And then like I did documentary PAing, and again, really small. I did it where it was like, basically we had two directors, and like they were co-directors for this company, and one did the camera and one did the sound. And so I was like really hands-on with everything else, everything else they needed. I was like there. They needed someone to stand in, slate, do whatever needed, whatever. But on the bigger sets, there's a lot more, you get to do a lot more different things because there's just a lot more different things to do. But yeah, more than anything, just have a positive attitude, and try to be as fast as you can doing whatever you need to do. And don't be afraid to ask questions because it's a really different world on the bigger sets than it is on the smaller sets, for sure. Congratulations, Kate, for, upcoming PAing. That'll be great. In terms of how much I usually make, it's still going to be 15 an hour. But the hours can be like 16-hour days, which if anyone's been hearing about IATSE, that's a thing. So who knows, maybe because PAs don't, even if you're on a union set, we don't have a union. So that's a little frustrating, but yeah, so minimum wage, but really long hours, which usually means that you can make like a pretty good amount of money because after like 8 hours, they have to pay you like, time and a half and then double time after that. So, but it's a lot. It's definitely a lot on your body and you're always like standing up. That's another thing. I know it depends on the set, I would say. A lot of people are like, don't sit down if you're a PA, but honestly, like know your limits. Like that's really silly, I think. Especially, I don't know, if everyone else is sitting down and you just need to be back in the corner, it's freaking long hours, freaking take care of yourself. But obviously you can read the set. If it's like crazy, then sit down. So yeah. And for how do production assistants how do you start? That's a good question. I feel like maybe I'm getting off topic a little bit, so I will answer that question in a little bit. But yeah, I'm like, wait, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, starting a freaking project. But yeah, I think really the biggest thing is just going to be, you're always going to have to, if you have an idea, get your script together, figure out how you're pitching to your people, like, and who you're pitching to. Another thing is, like I said, I had a project that I filmed out in April. I think everyone on the set, aside from my actors, were SFSU alumni / people still in SFSU. Like Hannah, who was the treasurer last year, was on it. And then London was on it. And then everyone else was my alumni. So everyone else were people like from my classes, like my thesis class and everything. And they all came together. Some people were in San Diego, some people were still in SF. And then I was in Huntington Beach. So some people were in LA even, like, and we brought everyone together and like they all came out, and I didn't pay anyone because, you know, it was hard times, but everyone was just like really wanting to get, you know, their hands in some creativity. So this is your time to be like networking. You're already in the film industry. So right now you all are making connections. So make connections with the people next to you for sure. But yeah, that's gonna be it, I think. You know, it's kind of like informal and weird, but yeah, I mean, I think that's like the biggest thing. Yeah.
We have a couple of questions for you, and then we will get to members asking questions as well. So Hannah, go for it.
Yeah, my question that I had for you was, when you're talking about pre-production process, is it possible for you to give us like a really basic step-by-step going from just an idea all the way until like production?
Yes. Let me think. Well, okay, so idea, you're going to want to get your script together. And then beyond that, you're going to want to talk to everyone that you want to be involved, to, you know, get involved. So you're going to want to get your crew. The next thing that you're going to want to do is get your actors, and that can mean like either just talking to people, whoever you want to act in, depending on if you have those connections, or actually auditioning people. But yeah, getting your actors, you're going to want to get your locations down, get your budget together. I'm trying to think, get your equipment's always good. And yeah, get your dates together as well. And all these things are kind of happening simultaneously. You know, it's not necessarily, okay, 1, 2, 3, it's like 1, and then like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like everything all at once, you know? But yeah, that's not very concise, but those are some of the things that you're going to want to get.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, for the next question, kind of going along with the last one, where do you find inspiration for projects?
That's a good question. I kind of find it anywhere and everywhere. Like for my thesis film, I was just like, okay, my inspiration literally came from like a shot that I had in mind, like someone walking down a hallway that like turned into a runway sort of thing. Like I was like, oh, that's like, and then my story like developed from there, you know? For the film that I shot in April, that was kind of came out of like quarantine. It was just like I had an accountability group with some of my alumni friends for writing, because everything was shut down, so we had like literally nothing to do but like try to work on writing. And so I just had to get a script together. So I was like looking through like one of my notebooks that I just have, like where I write down quotes or things that come up in my head or blah blah blah, like whatever. And I was like just piecing together random quotes, and then a story came out of it, you know. And then I also was doing where I had like a thing on Pinterest. What is it called? Like prompts on Pinterest, like writing prompts. And so I just started writing I tried to do a prompt a day and like writing in a notebook, like for like an hour, and just like started writing for each of those prompts, a prompt a day. And then not thinking, like, I was like, okay, I just needed to like get juices flowing, you know. I was like, if nothing comes of this, like whatever, at least I'm just like writing something. And then with one of them, one character like really stood out. It was like this weird, like crazy character that came out of it. And I was like, oh, this could be something. I ended up writing a pilot for it. And so it just kind of, and then I was working on a shoot in the desert, and I had just finished my film, like finished editing my film chapters. And this actor that I worked with, he inspired me as well, like with being in the desert, and then like also him and like the way I edited my short film, and like it all came together. Now I'm working on something else, like trying to get that going. So, and like I have a little script that still needs work, but you know, another short film. So it literally comes from anything and everything, but as long as you're like open to things, you know, and just keep writing as like a habit, I think that it comes from, I think that was the hopefully I answered that. Holy shiz. Sorry.
Okay, all good. Okay. Yeah. It's really interesting to hear about like your creative process.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, it's funny because some people will have like a strict, like, okay, I sit down in this chair and this is when I'm gonna like, and it's good to have that routine, but sometimes you just got to be open for it. And like sometimes it comes and sometimes you're having to look for it. And you know, I don't know, it's just, it's kind of wild. It comes from anywhere and everywhere. Some people are like, oh, I'm watching a film and I see that like film doesn't have the story that like I want. So then I'm gonna go and create like a better story or whatever, you know, like, yeah, so it's different for everyone, I think.
Awesome, thank you. I am going to make a couple announcements and then we will ask questions for Jessica. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I got the clarification. Ask questions so I can ask questions later after you make announcements.
Yes,
yeah?
just give me one second. They'll be quick.
Okay.
I just want to talk about next week is we are going to be meeting October 5th in person. We are finalizing where we're meeting. We will have a Zoom option for those that cannot make it in person. Yes. That is when we will be doing our brainstorming and just solidifying ideas and getting you ready to pitch on October 12th. And October 12th is our pitch session. So get ready now and start pitching. October 12th, again, we'll be in person, hopefully same destination, same room. But again, we will have a Zoom option for that pitch session. And then after that, we will get back to you on what we think of your pitches and who we're going to produce or who we want to work with and stuff like that. Again, all that will be talked about next week and determined after we pitch. Other than that, those were my big announcements. We end at 5, but if you guys want to stay, Jessica said that she is happy to stay. I'm happy to stay until 5:30. That's when Zoom kicks us out. So stay and ask questions if you would like. And yeah, I also am going to try and put the Discord link in the chat if you guys would like to join our Discord. Feel free. So thank you.
And make sure you're on our emailing list to get that PowerPoint from Jessica, because that was awesome. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead and put your email in the chat and we'll definitely get you on that list. You can ask your questions now. Go for it.
Okay. So how do you delve the time between asking not asking, but how do you delve the time between school and making your movie and generating ideas? Because I feel like that's a struggle for me.
Yeah, so I don't have a great answer for that because I struggle the same way. I'm graduated right now, so I have a little bit more free time other than having to like, you know, make rent and things like that. But for me, I mean, So when I was going to school, it was pretty tough for me, right? So during school, I was double majoring. So I also majored in English literature and then cinema. So I was averaging like 19 units a semester. I worked part-time over at Olive Garden, which is now like not here. And then also started this club. So that was really difficult. A lot of the times for me, like I didn't really do any extra filmmaking outside of the classroom. Yeah. So mainly I just kind of got whatever, it kind of sucked. Like all I could do really was like doing my projects for school, which being out of school, it's really nice because you do get to have like make your own timeline. So I don't know, like I don't have a good answer for that because I felt like I was drowning in school like a little bit. But it's nice right now, like being able to have a little bit more time. I mean, even now it's like, it's always going to be a struggle, right? Because I'm full-time doing production assistant. I'm doing a little bit of AD work where I can get it. And that's like paying my bills. And so, but it's like minimum wage, right? So I'm still like having to figure out times as to when I can be like the little cog in like the big industry wheel, and when I can go out and like make my little indie stuff where I feel like that actually revives me as like a human being and an artist. So it's just one of those things where it's like, you gotta just find the balance, like where you can, it's what's going to feed your soul versus like what you have to do. And just like, I don't know, finding balance that way, hopefully.
Yeah. It must be extremely hard. For me, I share that because not only am I drowned in school and I really want to do an internship, but like I said, I already stated I'm in another country that speaks a different language. And the first thing you don't think when it comes to a big industry that's accessible in the English language is film. And it's just frustrating. Not frustrating, but it is what it is. And I don't know. It's different, and I didn't want to end up here. I did end up here for my own safety, but
Yeah, the pandemic's really been difficult, but on the flip side of that, the industry is more virtual than it's ever been right now. We're using this meeting, like if it had been not without the pandemic, we probably would have been doing it in person in a classroom without like, because that's first year, like first half the semester that F3 was running, like we did everything in classroom. Like it wasn't even an option. Like, I mean, Amber, you remember, right? Like you were around. So it was literally just, we were like, how do we get everyone there for meetings? That was like the hard thing, was like getting people there in person. So I would say definitely use like another thing that I did, and actually this will probably help with like, how do you start as like a production assistant or like starting a gig like outside of school anyways. Get on LinkedIn and start messaging anyone and everyone that you can that's in the film industry. Look out for alumni. They definitely have like a special tie. Like if you say you're, for SFSU students, that's huge. And also now's your time to like get on, because people want to like help students learn, like if you say you're a student, like that's huge. It's like, now's your time to ask all your like dumb, which aren't dumb questions. Everyone needs like, these answered, but like the basic questions, now's your time, because it's like, oh, like this is, they're learning. You can get away with so much by just saying you're a student, like legitimately people will want to help you. I would do a lot of like messaging people and say, do you have 10 to 15 minutes on a certain day, or like in general in your schedule, where we could do like a virtual coffee? And then I got to learn, that's one thing that I did just outside of the pandemic, or just outside of graduating, like during the pandemic, how I like kept my time was trying to connect with people via LinkedIn. And honestly, like a lot of times I would get like with anyone, like people from marketing, people from post-production, pre-production, CAA people, like all of that, like people whose jobs I really wasn't even interested in per se, but I wanted to learn, like, because there's so many different jobs out there. Everyone has a little niche. So yeah, just go on, like learn, and you never know. Like there was one lady that was telling me about her marketing stuff, and I was like, that sounds so interesting. Maybe that's something that like could come about. It didn't, but who knows, maybe in the future, but it was like really interesting stuff to like learn. But yeah, don't be afraid and go out and like send it in masses. Like seriously, like don't send out like 2 messages, like go out and send like 20 messages a day and you'll get people back.
I was thinking of doing that for like one of the directors I really liked, who I found out has a LinkedIn profile, but I don't know if she uses it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the worst comes to worst is either they say no, which I don't think that people usually don't say no, but like they'll just not respond to you, like that's worst comes to worst is that. But yeah, just go out and like, and keep your messages short too. People are like busy in the industry. So if you just say, hey, I'm a student from SFSU, wanting to learn a little bit more, saw your resume and it looked really awesome. Do you have 10 to 15 minutes for a virtual coffee?
Okay.
Oh, and then too, with the rest for the production assistant. So that's one way to like go into things. Also what I did is there's like Facebook groups that you can join that are looking for production assistants. I know a lot of them down here based in LA. I'm sure there's a lot more in SF as well, though, if that's where you all are based. Just be careful on there because there are like scams, and you'll know whenever it's a scam because they're usually like asking for your information, and like asking you to do weird things like buy the equipment and then we'll refund you. And it's like, yeah, right. That's funny. So just don't fall prey to that for sure. And then also I would cold email DGA members. So the ADs on union gigs are the ones that are going to be and UPMs for like commercial work are going to be the ones that are like hiring people. So go onto the DGA website, grab people's emails and start, cold emailing, and again, keeping it nice and short and sweet, saying my name is so-and-so. I'm based in SF looking for gigs, blah, blah, blah. Like would love to work with you. Here's my phone number, my email, and attach your resume. And that's also how I like got a majority of mine. And again, that I was doing like hundreds of emails a day, like legitimately. But I got like majority of my stuff from there.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Another question. So when you're going about like developing your ideas, what would you say is the importance of getting constructive criticism and feedback from or people that you know? Yeah.
Dude, I hate when I have like something and I'm like, this needs work. Give me constructive criticism. And they're like, this is so good. Like, what? I think it's super important. I also think too, like for you all for next, for when you all are doing your pitches or when you all are developing your pitches or whatever, a good method that actually Laura Green teaches in her classes is like sandwiching it. So like what's working, what needs to be fixed, and what else is working? Like, what did you like, So 2 positives and then the negative or the constructive criticism. Because also what you don't want is for someone to go in and like be like, this is like not it right here sucks, or don't ever say it like that, but you know what I mean? Like this needs to be worked on, that needs to be worked on, that needs to be worked on. And then you come back and like the charm of everything that you actually loved about it is gone because you didn't voice like, oh, like actually this part was like really good. I'm so sad you got rid of, you know what I mean? Like you want to know what's working and what's not. So sandwiching it is like really a great way of it. And yeah, sometimes I think it's just really important, especially like, cause sometimes you're just blind to it, you're like, this isn't working, but I'm trying to figure out why. And like, or you just need affirmations of like, this doesn't feel right, but what is it? Like, let me know, please. And then, I don't know, I find it, and finding people that you can trust is like really important. Like I said, I had like an accountability group going on with some girls from my thesis class, and like we would meet every 2 weeks, and like it was like they knew, like they knew what was working, what wasn't. They gave me my like feedback, And then brainstorming too, that's also really helpful, is like when you say, oh, this isn't working, but maybe you could try it this way or that way, or like giving a suggestion with it versus like just being like, no,
Thank you for your answer. That was really helpful.
Yeah, of course.
So I meant to ask you in the chat, if I don't have Facebook, what other resources could I use I might have missed it I might have missed it as well in the question, but what other resources could I miss to get started as a PA or someone behind the scenes, or maybe as an extra as well?
Well, I don't know, I'm not sure about where you are exactly, for that.
I want to work remotely,
Yeah.
but I also don't know if I want to work on sets. I mean, I do, but I want to make sure I have to be it has to be English verified. Like people have to be speaking English, majority speaking English, and I don't know about most productions. Like at least small productions. The big productions do speak English.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure where you would go for that sort of stuff. There's like Hollylist has some stuff, the website Hollylist, but sometimes you have to like pay for like memberships of that. And then you would want to look for like remote jobs, which I was always like, I don't want to like pay for things, like especially right now, I'm like, I don't have the money for it. Like I'm trying to like make minimum wage, like please. But I know Hollylist is one. There's like another one that I can't remember, is also good. But if you're gonna do it, definitely pay for the membership, because I know that they have it, like their algorithm like really puts it against you if you like aren't paying for the membership. So you might as well, if you're gonna apply for something, you might as well pay for it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know 100% like with your situation. I know it's like a struggle, but that's why too, going on LinkedIn and like asking other people is really good. Yeah, because there may be someone who actually knows how to like get about your situation, because they've like been through something similar, or maybe they studied abroad or whatever, like they know there's, so maybe that might be helpful, like finding someone else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we are going to wrap up now. Thank you so much, Jessica, and everyone else who was able to stay. Jessica, if you can put your email in the chat for whoever's left. I will also send out your email in another email to everyone, just letting everyone know who you are and that you're a good resource. So thank you.
Yeah, come on over.
Cool. All right, thank you guys so much. We will see you next week, hopefully.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Okay.